Year 1 and 2, it's Mrs Hall here again. We're using the key text this week, A Mouse Called Julian. So I'd like to thank CLP for allowing us to use that resource. If you haven't heard the book read yet, just pause the clip and go and do that now. Okay, I'm really pleased to see that you've chosen to do a non-chronological report today. That sounds scary, but it's not at all. We're just writing a report about one of the creatures that appear in the story. So you might choose to do it about an owl, a fox, or a mouse. I've chosen to do mine about the great grey owl, so a particular kind of owl, and then I've written my report here. Now, before we can start writing, it's important that we think about planning. So I've attached a planning structure for you that's blank, and it has these 3 subheadings on, plus 2 more, habitat and behaviour. And that's to allow you, with a grown-up or on your own, to research one of those animals and record all the facts down that you can find about them that you can then use in your writing. So let's read mine now and see if we can pick out some of the skills that you're going to need to write a good report yourself. So at the top I've got my title, and this is really important because it tells the reader what my piece of writing is about. Mine's just simply called The Great Grey Owl. Now I've used capital letters for great and grey and owl because that's its full name. So you'll need to check which words of yours need a capital letter. It's important to notice first that I've used subheadings, and that's really important in a report. So everything in this paragraph is to do with my introduction, everything in this paragraph is to do with appearance, and everything in this paragraph is to do with diet. So we use these to structure our work, structure our writing. Now the purpose of a report is to teach the reader about your subject or your topic. So ours is the great grey owl, so anybody reading this could learn a little bit more about that. I started my introduction with a question. Did you know there are over 150 different species of owl in the world? And I remembered my question mark there. Now I use that to hook the reader in. They read it and they might have thought, oh gosh, no, I didn't know that. So they want to read on to find out more. I've then said the great grey owl is just one of them. So I've said about owls generally, and then I've introduced what I'm going to talk about. Then there's just a fact for them. When there is a group of owls, they are called a parliament. And your key learning focus this week is suffixes. You can see I've got an ed suffix there. The great grey owl has a grey face with bright yellow, there's our expanded noun phrase again, separated the 2 adjectives by a comma, eyes, and, coordinating conjunction, underneath its beak it has a white bow tie. So if you look at a picture of a great grey owl, you'll see this. It's got its beak and underneath it's got feathers that look like a little white bow tie. It is one of the largest species of owl. And here we go again with our suffixes. We've got the est. So even though this is a non-chronological report, this is a non-fiction piece, which means it's factual, it still has those suffixes in the words. You can still use them in your writing. Then we go to diet. This bird is nocturnal, and then I've used a conjunction here, subordinating conjunction, to go on to explain, which means it is active at night. Owls hunt for their food. They eat small mammals like rats and mice, and even eat small birds. Now, because the owl is a bird, I've used an exclamation mark here to show surprise, to show that they even eat small birds. The other thing that we need to notice is in a non-chronological report, the vocabulary you choose is really important because it needs to be scientific. It needs to be appropriate to what you're talking about. So we have words to do with the subject. Now what I mean by that is we've got nocturnal. Now that wouldn't normally appear in a fiction piece, okay? But we need to carefully choose the correct vocabulary. So I've got nocturnal here, but then I've explained it for the reader in case they don't know what that means. Okay, we've also got diet, which is a well-chosen word, appearance, and we've got mammals. And these are all of those words that are linked to the subject, so really, really important that you use the correct vocabulary. The other thing to notice is that I've started simply with an overall introduction, but the rest of it could be read in any order. and that's one of the perks of a report. So if I didn't want to know about the appearance, what an owl looked like, then I might go on to just think, oh, I want to know about what it eats, so I'll only read this section. It can be read in any order. Most important thing is to remember to use facts, to use the punctuation because we've already learnt these skills, and especially to use conjunctions to give that explanation to the reader, okay, to tell them a little bit more about the subject that you're writing about. So I've only written the first 3 subheadings, but you could write all 5 if you're really confident, or you might just choose to do 3 like this. You might just choose to do 2, but do a lot more detail about them if it's going to be easier for you to research that. Good luck, I'm sure they'll be absolutely amazing, and I look forward to reading some of them.